Hey everyone, and welcome. So if you're building out a modern data platform on Azure, you have almost certainly hit a major fork in the road. Today, we're going to dive deep into one of the most critical decisions you can make, architecting your entire strategy around either Azure Synapse or Azure Databricks. Yep, this is the big one, right? This is the question that lands on the desk of every senior architect and technical leader out there. And it's a huge choice because it defines not just your tech stack, but really how your teams are going to work, what capabilities you'll unlock, and the future flexibility of your entire data world. But here is the most important thing to remember as we go through this. This isn't some kind of tech battle to declare one platform the ultimate winner for everyone. Nope. Our goal today is to give you a really clear framework for deciding which of these absolute powerhouses is the right fit for your specific needs, for your team, and for your ambitions. Okay, let's get into it. And to start, we need to understand the core challenge. Why is this decision so tough in the first place? Well, it really comes down to this fundamental tension that exists in the modern data world. See, on one hand, you've got the world of traditional business intelligence. This is all about rock-solid reliability, perfectly structured data, and just super predictable performance for those critical reports the business depends on. But then, on the other hand, you have the explosive world of AI and machine learning, which just thrives on flexibility, on raw data, and all sorts of advanced analytics. The real challenge is, today's businesses need to be amazing at both. And to solve this exact dilemma, Microsoft Azure offers two incredible but philosophically very different solutions. So let's do a quick intro to our two main contenders. First up, you've got Azure Synapse Analytics. The easiest way to think about this is as the next evolution of the classic enterprise data warehouse. It's really designed to be a single, unified workspace where you can do pretty much everything, from ingesting data and transforming it to serving up gigantic datasets for your BI tools like Power BI. And then we have Azure Databricks. Now, this was born from the incredibly powerful open source Apache Spark project, and Databricks is built around this concept called the lakehouse. The whole idea is to bring the reliability and structure of a warehouse directly to the raw data sitting in your data lake. It unifies data engineering, data science, and ML on one single open platform. So here's the most important thing to get. These aren't just two different products with slightly different features. They actually represent two completely different philosophies on how you should build a modern data platform. Now, what I love about this slide is the analogy, because it really nails it. Think of Synapse as a perfectly organized, all-in-one smart toolbox. You open it up and everything you need is right there, all integrated and designed to just work together seamlessly. Databricks, on the other hand, is more like a high-end, professional, modular kitchen. You get to pick and choose all the best-of-breed components, Spark for your processing, Delta Lake for storage, specialized ML tools, and you assemble them yourself for maximum power and flexibility. And this quote just brilliantly illustrates that difference in mindset, in their DNA. Synapse's design is constantly driven by this question of integration and simplicity. How can we lower the barrier to entry for enterprise analytics? Meanwhile, Databricks is always pushing the envelope on performance and capability, asking, how can we empower the most advanced, most demanding use cases out there? All right, so that's the philosophy, but what does this actually look like in the real world? Let's check out how these two different approaches build out into two very distinct architectural blueprints. First up, let's imagine a world where Synapse is the absolute center of your data universe. You see this pattern a lot, and for good reason, especially for organizations that have a really strong foundation in SQL and traditional business intelligence. Just look at this flow. It's beautifully streamlined. Data comes into the data lake. Synapse's own built-in pipelines handle all the orchestration and transformation. Then, that final clean data gets loaded into a high-performance dedicated SQL pool. You can think of this as a supercharged database engine that can query billions of rows in seconds. And finally, Power BI connects right to that pool for lightning-fast, enterprise-grade reporting. It's just a clean, end-to-end Microsoft-managed experience. Okay, now let's flip the script and contrast that with the Databricks-centric model. This architecture is often the go-to for teams with really deep data science needs or, those who just prioritize that open source flexibility. So here, the flow, it feels a lot more modular. Data still lands in the data lake, but it's immediately managed by Delta Lake, which adds this amazing layer of reliability and performance right on top of your raw files. All the heavy lifting, the really complex transformations, feature engineering for machine learning, model training, All that happens inside powerful Databricks notebooks. And for serving the data, you've got options. You can use Databricks SQL, or you could even pass the curated data over to Synapse for a specific BI use case. And of course, Power BI can connect directly to Databricks, giving your analysts access to the absolute freshest data possible. Okay, so we've seen the two distinct blueprints. Now we get to the most important part of this whole thing. How do you actually choose the right path for your organization? It's a huge question, and I'll tell you right now, the answer is not found by just comparing the list of features in a blog post. No. Instead, you've got to look inward. You need to ask some really fundamental questions about your team, your priorities, and your vision for the future of data. Let's break these down. First, what's your center of gravity? I mean, really, is your world dominated by structured data warehousing and quarterly reports? If so, Synapse has a really strong pull. But if you're building cutting-edge ML models that need to process petabytes of unstructured data, well, Databricks feels like a much more natural fit. Second, think about your team's culture. Do they want that seamless, integrated toolbox where everything just works, or are they power users who want to fine-tune every single component in their modular kitchen? Third, what's more important right now? Simplifying development to get to market faster, or building a platform with maximum flexibility for any unknown challenge the future might throw at you? And finally, you have to look ahead. Answering these questions honestly will point you very clearly toward one architecture or the other. But I want to leave you with one final and, I think, crucial thought. As you've probably figured out by now, these platforms are not mutually exclusive. In fact, many of the most sophisticated, most impressive data architectures we see today actually use both, playing to their respective strengths. Maybe Databricks handles the crazy, complex data science, and then Synapse takes that polished data and serves it beautifully to the enterprise. So perhaps the ultimate question isn't really Synapse versus Databricks, but how do we design a strategy where they can powerfully work together?